Wim Hof.
I went on Mount Everest in my shorts. I lost the way under the ice. I run marathons in my shorts beyond the polar circle, barefoot, in the desert without drinking, hanging by one finger between two hot air balloons in the freezing temperatures. I did it all and more. At a certain moment, I felt, what else do I have to do? And then I started with people, with people's demons.
When in your life have you felt the most hopeless?
Oh, yes, and when I lost my wife to a suicide, mental disorder, schizophrenic. It's a darkness. I could not help her back then. Then I took up the ice again so strongly because it was the only way to heal my emotional wound inside. There I beat depression. There I beat grief, emotional grief. I think we have demons in our society. They come, we call them schizophrenic, mental disorders, less quality of life, greed, whatever that is. It is plaguing our soul.
When have you been the most afraid in your life? Wim Hof. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Aaron, for having me. We know each other already, I don't know how long, but quite long, through Aubrey Marcus too, and in Los Angeles, the Angels. Tomorrow I go to the Angels, Los Angeles, and continue over there. Yes, how to bring sanity back in the people. It was Professor Friedrich who talked to me and said, Wim, what do we got to do? The democracy as it is in peril because the people are getting so weak. And I said to him directly, hey, give me those people 1 week and we make them strong. And that is this conversation all about. You are doing the body work, great body work, de-traumatization, optimizing the health of people the way nature meant it to be. That's why I'm here to talk with you into the depth. And it's all about love. I love you. And I love the people watching us, talking about sense as men, and bring sanity all over, because it is needed.
When in your life have you felt the most hopeless?
Oh, yes. And when I lost my wife to a suicide, mental disorder, schizophrenic. It's a darkness. I could not help her back then. Now, yes, I'm into psychiatry, neuroscience, and neurosurgery and all. We are doing the studies right now how to cleanse the brain of brain waste. Back then, I didn't know. I was practicing it, but she didn't. And she deteriorated it. And she went away, and I stayed back with 4 kids. It was a deterioration, declining of mental health until she fell or jumped from 8 stories down to her death. When I saw her dead body the other day, I saw that demon was out of her. Because I think we have demons in our society. They come, we call them schizophrenic, mental disorders, less quality of life, greed, whatever that is. It is plaguing our soul. And I'm into the soul. I think the soul's characteristics should be there, sane, and that is health, happiness, and strength. And our health is the quality of our control over the immune system. The happiness is the control over the endocannabinoid system and the pharmacy within, that is the endocrine system. And then you have the energy. If you go into the cold, then the energy is going to flow. And you learn to direct it. You learn to de-traumatize. A river that runs is sane. If it is stagnant, it becomes sick. So what we do when we go into the cold is the energy factories in the cell. We activate them, the mitochondria, and we bring in more oxygen, aerobic dissimulation. For example, A month ago, I was with Eddie Hall, the strongest guy of the world, 500 kilos lifting. And I said, I don't care how good you are. I make you better. Because are you the best of yourself? And there he questioned himself. Yeah, hey man, I can always learn. So let's show the proof in the pudding. Do your dumbbells. Take some dumbbells, 30 kilos, so 60 pounds here, 60 pounds there, and lift them. And you lift them 60 times, like that. And he, 60. Okay, that's enough. Well done. Well done. Now, let's walk over there, have a drink, some water, some coffee, some tea, whatever. And we had a talk. And 10 minutes later, we went back. He still had the soreness of that exercise in his body. And we went back and I said, now, just want you to think one thing. You give the best and you get, and then the best is able to come. So only think about what you are going to do. And what is that? Deep in breathing, what you just did, and let it go. All in, let it go. All in, let it go. 30 times. And in those 30 times, he went into the breath, into his body, without knowing exactly what was going to happen. But then, after 30 times, I said, breathe out. Now take the same dumbbells and do it over again, what you did 10 minutes, with still the soreness, the acidity in his muscles. And he did it, not 60 times, but 90. And he was not tired. That is the power of the breath. And that power we want to give to everybody. Not to beat somebody else, but to become the best of yourself, which is more than beating somebody else. And that's what we want to bring to every person in the world. Because through the breath, we are able to master our alchemy, inner inside, and become happy, strong, and healthy. Because it connects with all the systems. And once that is there, flowing, subtly, we are able to connect with our will, with that system, to the autonomic nervous system level, to the level of the central nervous system. And we are proving this time after time in studies. And we want to bring this to the world. And for that, I thank you to having brought me here and to answer these questions. Thank you.
Has there been a darkest demon you've faced within yourself?
Yes, of course, when there are many demons. But I'm also now with the Catholic Church, even talking to exorcists, the real ones. Not the films, the real ones. And the real demons look as much as long as there is war in the world. There is no civilization. And I'm into the special forces. I want to tackle our plaguing murderers in our society. Cardiovascular related diseases, for example. That's a big demon. To get a heart attack, that is a demon. And how it sneaks in and how we don't know how to handle it is also a demonic system that doesn't know how to naturally prevent from heart attacks to come. That is greed and money. So can we beat those demons? Yes, we can. Because I've been challenging my demons so much that I'm able to go into science as a dropout of school and teach the professors and doctors where they don't have answers. Because I beat it, my demons, in nature. I went on Mount Everest in my shorts. I lost the way under the ice. I run marathons in my shorts beyond the polar circle, barefoot, in the desert without drinking, hanging by one finger between two hot air balloons in the freezing temperatures. I did it all and more. At a certain moment, I felt Yeah, what else do I have to do? And there's no need anymore. I had no fantasy anymore to come up with more than 26 world records. Now, what more? That doesn't make sense. Now I'm done. I filled my cup. Now I'm ready to face the world. And then I started with people, with people's demons. Crohn's disease, cancer, arthritis, asthma, heart disease. And they take a bunch of people, 26 of them, and do something that is not able to be done, according to the physiologist, climbing Kilimanjaro in a record time. It's a mountain that only can be done 5 to 9 days because you need to acclimatize. And especially when you got conditions, you cannot do that. And those people, they took on the challenge because I said, let's do something that is never been done. Let's show humanity that we can do more than we think. And they took on the challenge. So their superpower was trust. Their superpower was that motivation that comes from trust. Let's do this. We can do this.
What's up, y'all? I want to take a moment and share a word from our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Kaizen. Kaizen is by far the cleanest electrolyte company that I have come across. They care so deeply about every individual ingredient that goes into these packets. They use microplastic-free pink Himalayan sea salt. They use organic flavors. Mixed berry is by far my favorite. It's insanely delicious. It tastes like you're eating or drinking real food. Sometimes electrolytes, they have like a weird metallic battery-esque type taste. This tastes like food. Tastes organic, it tastes delicious. In the lemon lime flavor, they actually use real lemon and real lime. It's absurd. I haven't seen any company that cares more about their ingredients in the electrolyte space, and I think you guys will enjoy it if you try it yourself. If you would like to try it, you can go to livekaizen.com/align and you will get 15% off. That's live, L-I-V-E, Kaizen, Kaizen.com/align for 15% off. Cheers.
Do you feel like you may be enlightened or completely liberated within yourself?
Yes, so can anybody else.
In this moment?
Yes, in this moment, I'm completely, yes, I'm here with my soul. I'm a soul. God is here. I'm fearless. There's no death, and there is nothing started at my birth. Nothing will end when I'm dead. I'm my soul, everlasting, unbreakable. I have no fear than to look for the realization of that soul. And I don't need to do crazy stuff anymore. I want to do crazy stuff with humanity and take on the challenges of the problems of humanity, take them in and show we can turn it around. Make this world a place where there is no war, where there is no unhappiness, where there is health, where there is strength, where there is realization that every person is unique and the best within himself. Create a paradise.
Was there a day in your life that you transcended yourself?
Oh, many times.
When?
Many times. Oh, that started in the day when I got into the cold water when I was 70. This is it. This is it. Or I transcended my narrowed consciousness and got connection with the depth of myself. Because that it is. And now we are showing this in brain scans, how to activate 100% of the brain. And how to get the corona radiata, that is the crown chakra. That was about enlightenment, to go beyond the thinking brain. That is what the yogis are all about. I say, yeah, just do that within a half hour.
What's the greatest lie people tell themselves in modern culture that keeps them sick?
The trickery of the mind. Don't be in the trickery of the mind. Yeah, make yourself happy, strong, and healthy. You are built to be so. And the tools are very simple. If you take a cold bath, then you train your cardiovascular system. And at the same time, you are tackling killer number one in our modern society. That is cardiovascular related diseases. You make your heart strong. Because they did the test on me. Just what you did, I did too. 2 days ago with a cardiologist. And he tested me with a WhatsApp, not a WhatsApp, what is an app, and on the telephone. And then they saw I got a biological age of my heart, which is of an 18-year-old. I'm 66.
Really?
So that is the way we are going to tackle that sneaky serial killer, cardiovascular-related diseases. Because if we go regularly in the cold is not our enemy, it's our friend. When we go regularly in the cold, then we are able to improve the biological age of our heart and prevent heart attacks. Ooh, I cannot say that, huh? We cannot say that. Oh, no, because they want us weak. And you cannot say that. No, I can say that because it's common sense. And now we can measure it. So it is beyond speculation. That is enlightenment for those who are bound to get in a heart attack.
Is there a they that wants us weak, or is there a part of us that wants us weak? Or is it both? Do we want to stay weak ourselves?
We live too much comfort, too much thinking brain. And we got extension tools, we got cars, we got heaters, we got air conditioning, we can cool it down. It's always a comfortable state. We never go into the uncomfortable state. And I say, if you don't go to the cold, then the cold will come to you. If you don't go to the stress, then the stress will come to you. It's bound to happen. And we got perfect systems to deal with that stress. But we have to learn to exercise those stress mechanisms. Going into the cold, doing the breathing you just did, is exactly the way to biohack into those stress mechanisms, into the depth of the brain, and to realign, because consciously we do that, and we make a neural pathway to the depth of the brain. And then I say, if we are able to go into the depth of the brain, then where else can we not go? Inside our brain. They thought you only can control 16% of the brain, according to neuroscience. No, it's 100%. This is our temple. It's connected to all the wires in the body, the central nervous system. It's all there, and we should be able to go in our temple into any place when there's something going on. Not simultaneous all the time, everywhere. That is frenetic. No, that way sometimes you are in the living room, sometimes in the cellar, sometimes in the bedroom, in the bathroom. It's your temple. Any place in your sight, your own brain, you should be able to access into. And that is done by breathing. Because it showed in brain scans that suddenly 100% of the brain is at work. And I show this in brain scans too, that I'm able to go in parts of the brain they thought of is impossible to go into. And then we bring solutions where neuroscientists have no solutions. Because it's not in the books, it's in the breath.
You have climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in shorts. You've been in ice water for an hour and 52 minutes?
Yes.
52 minutes?
54.
54 minutes. I think you swam under ice water for, is it 66 meters?
Yes.
Where does your mind go in those times that someone that has not done something like that wouldn't understand?
Yeah, this is me. I was a seeker and trying to find. And then television found me. Television, because I was already doing crazy stuff, what normally is not done. And they started to challenge me. And apparently I had created a foundation through my discipline that enabled me to do even more crazy stuff. So they came up with 50 meters and then 100 meters and then climb Mount Kilimanjaro, climb Mount Everest. Can you walk, run a barefoot marathon beyond the polar circle? Can you do the same in the Sahara? Anything. Television is crazy, not me. I'm just a seeker. I want to find where are the limits? What is the soul all about? I didn't know until I got this connection within me. So every time I go into a record attempt, I just give it all I got. That is my philosophy. If you give all you got, then all is able to come. It knows, the subconsciousness knows what is going to happen. I've been climbing walls like free climbing, free soloing, been under the ice. It's always there. You give it all, you get it all. Or in other words, your instincts are able to calculate subconsciously what is going to happen. And if I feel good, I know it's going to succeed. I trust that.
What's happening in your mind? Do you experience fear in those situations? Do you experience doubt in those situations? How do you navigate those sensations?
Yeah, doubt and fear, both. They are all there until they subside.
How do you navigate it?
Oh, very simple. You follow your breath and you feel. Your feeling already knows. You don't need to think about this. Your feeling knows. Feeling is the understanding. And if it stays cool, I just trust it. And it knows that you're going to swim 66 meters. It knows that you're going to run the marathon. It knows that it knows things in time. Not to happen any accident many times in the mountains. I got these moments. I just don't go that way. I go just 1 meter that way or 1 yard that way. Boom! Rock. I follow that feeling. I trust that feeling. While climbing without gear, steep rocks. And there it comes. I saw this too many times. I trust my God. To me, that is God.
When have you been the most afraid in your life?
Most afraid. I mean, when you get lost under the ice, you think you're going to be afraid, but I wasn't. There was no agony. There was no claustrophobia. There was no lack of air. I was peaceful. There is always this power inside that is stronger than any fear. When your brain is opening up 100%, and that is done by the breathing, then fear is only saying, hey, you are not ready for the moment that is going to come. So before I do record attempts, I get not fears, I get messages. And it's like fear. Hey, if you're not ready, then this is no good for what you are going to do. So get ready. At that moment, I take the messenger serious, or the fear. And when I'm into the record attempt, I'm cleansed. I'm ready. I know it knows in time what is going to happen, and then it's just unfolding.
Why do you think people are afraid of death?
Because they don't know it's not the end. They think it is the end. Because we are too hedonistic. We are too materialistic. We have never been schooled that the soul is indestructible, everlasting. That there is metaphysically a life before and after death. That we never die. That it is beyond our comprehension. If we stay in that narrowed consciousness of that comprehension, we are afraid of dying because we think this is the end. It is not the end. It is, what was it? It is like what you said this morning. We met. It's like Ram Dass who say,
death is like taking off a tight shoe.
Death is taking off tight shoes. There it is. And it's not for nothing. These people have a different consciousness. And I see it that way. I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid not to live.
How could someone learn or integrate that lesson of relieving themselves of the fear of death now?
By going with the breath, the life force. Life is stronger than death. Go with life. Life is miraculous. Go to life. And miraculously, you will free yourself of death, of the fear of death, because you will be one with the soul. And once you get into the purpose of realizing that soul, you will realize perfectly that you're not going to die ever anymore, that you are here to be everlasting. There is no fear in a brain that is fully opened up because you are ready for anything.
What were your parents like?
Poor, industrial. Father was not able to work even because he had like 10 hernias, operations done. He was always at home. My mother was God-fearing, taking care of us. 9 children. I was exactly in the middle. I loved my mother. It was my mother, actually, as me being the twins, identical and all. They never knew there was a second one, and it was me at birth. And I almost came to the light, to the life here on earth. Too late, suffocated, purple. But before coming, my mother was praying that she was in fear, not only God-fearing, but also in fear to lose the life of this baby back then, a little nothing in her. And she prayed, "Oh God, let this child live, and we'll make him a missionary." Here I am, right now. So back then, those words invocated like a tattoo on my soul, into my cells, into my genetics, epigenetics, call it whatever it is. A power of a mother who is in love with the baby to come, God-fearing, is enormous, is a spell. And I got it. And I grew up. When I was 12, I started subconsciously telling my friends, the world is thinking that death, that the fear of death, that the darkness, that wars, that disease, depression, pollution is normal. I think it is sick. That was part of the mission, the missionary, of course. But I wasn't aware. I was just driven by my God, by my subconscious. When I was 17, I came to the realization, cold, the stress, because I was born in the cold of the hole, almost suffocated. When you're almost suffocated, you become hypersensitive, and you feel the cold even more. So when I got into the cold, I remembered, I recognized a power. This is it I'm looking for. But I was on the way to build up my state of being a missionary. And I went on doing all kinds of crazy stuff, going into the extremes, learning Sanskrit, learning Japanese, all kinds of more languages and traditions and esoteric disciplines. And when I lost my wife in 95, it's 31 years ago, I was left alone with 4 children alone. Then I took up the ice again so strongly because it was the only way to heal my emotional wound inside and to serve non-sentimentally my kids, my little babies, and to create a warm nest. There I beat depression. There I beat grief, emotional grief. I got a hold over all that. Then, fast forward, in 2007 in New York, being in Manhasset, New York Biochemical Institute with Dr. Kevin Tracy, New York State healthcare man #1. Under his supervision, I got to be tested for seeing if I, after the day before doing a world record in New York, in the streets, in front of the Rubin Museum of Art, I was to do a experiment to see if I was able to intervene, to influence deeply into the vagus nerve. And there I was, not knowing what this experiment was all about. But hey, I got a chance to show that we can do more than we think. Here the blood was taken, and here I was connected to the heart and lung meter. So I started to do my breathing, because that's what I always do. Then they took out beep, 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 the machine said, the lung and heartbeat, because I was longer than 2 minutes without breathing. It thinks the person is dead, flatline. And they took it out. They brought in another machine. And a few minutes later, beep, 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 again. And then another machine. And the third one I was really on. So I gave it all I got there. And a week later, I got the results. Nobody has shown how to influence deeply into the vagus nerve. But I did. And not a little bit. Here I got Dr. Ken Kamler on the line. So I look over the Central Park from the 9th floor in the hotel there, and he tells me, Wim, if you are able to reproduce this, that means huge consequences for human mankind. And there the missionary started to be consciously, of course I can do this, because it is breathing. Anybody can do this. We can beat inflammation by just using the breath. That is my mission, to bring this now. The mission partially is done because the cold now is being done by hundreds and millions of people. It's mainstream now. Now the breathing, because it will be able to show how to de-traumatize, even ancestral, by which we can stop the difference between populations. With that, the war. Because a happy man doesn't go to war. A happy man is not into greed. So at that moment, the missionary had begun. It had triggered me. And half an hour later, I got a phone call from my family that my mother had died. You see how it links with my birth? And 52 years later, I get that message. There was the missionary. She invoked it. There I am. Here I am. To spread a message coming from the innocence of a mother in love and fear, God-fearing.
I'd like to take a moment and share a word from our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by AX3 BioPure Astaxanthin. I am personally very excited about astaxanthin from AX3 because astaxanthin is hands down one of the strongest natural compounds on the face of the planet to support in longevity by reducing chronic inflammation in the body and also reducing oxidative stress on the body. So it's very helpful for the health and the youthfulness of your skin. So it supports your skin in being more elastic and hydrated and plump and healthy. It's also supportive with reducing inflammation, not just the joints and the muscles, but also the brain. So it's supportive with recovery, but is also very neuroprotective and is supportive with reducing cognitive decline. It has actually been studied by the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and found to extend the lifespan of mice by around 12%, which was unheard of in NIH history. This stuff is incredible. It is the stuff that makes salmon that lush pink color. In one single serving of this, you'll get about as much astaxanthin as you would an entire pound of wild-caught sockeye salmon or up to 4 pounds of farm-raised Atlantic salmon. This stuff is incredible. I think it's a very important compound. I think you'll learn more about this as the years go on. If you want to try it yourself and support your own health, you can go to ax3.life/align and you will get incredible 20% off your order. That is ax3.life/align for 20% off.
Was Wim Hof in 1995, when he was going into cold water, why was he doing that? What brought you to cold? And did you feel strong at that time?
I was a mountain guide. I was strong like a mountain goat. Yeah, really. I remember climbing a mountain, and I was so fast that on the way back, running down from the mountain in the Pyrenees, from 3,500 meters, what is that in feet?
10,000 feet.
10,000 feet, something like that. I did it in 1 hour, going back from the refuge from 6,600 feet to 10,000 feet and back in 1 hour and 1/4. I run up the mountain, and I run back. And I remember this moment where I run around a rock, and there was a mountain goat. And the mountain goat was, and I run past. Yeah, it really is so. That makes me the goat, man.
You are the goat.
Yeah, I am the goat. The thing was, back then I was strong. I was fast. And I every day you could find me in the mountains with people. I brought the people into canyoning, mountaineering, all that, hiking, doing pointing, like bungee jumps and all that I did all the time. Thousands of people. So I was working in the mountains when the accident or the suicide happened, 250 kilometers away.
What was the emotional pain like for you?
Emptiness. Emptiness. Because I had sort of subconsciously I had it seen coming, without being able to intervene. But I had to take also care of 4 kids. So it doesn't permit you to grieve. You got to be there for the kids. And I was there for the kids. And of course, we have been grieving. And she is here right now. She has made us strong as a family. I work with those kids who are adults now. We got a company. We work all over the world and we bring goodness. And she looks over our shoulders. There is contact with the afterlife.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we understand it, not through this language and thoughts, but it is there, absolutely there. And we are simply about to what we feel is right. And she is with us. So back then, we had to grieve, and we grieved together. We sticked together. We created a warm nest, and they trusted. They trusted me. And now we are working together, and all is great, but this is the way it went. And it had a big impact in our lives. My children didn't want to have children because they suffered the death of their mother in their lives. And they subconsciously, they had the fear, if I have a kid, one of them can lose their lives, and then the kid is without a mother or a father. So it took them almost 40 years to become fathers and mothers. Well, I started when I was 23 to have kids with my wife back then.
When you felt empty, how did you become full?
Going into the cold water. Cold water healed me. My children made me survive. The cold water healed me.
How?
How? When you go into the cold water, you don't think. When you are into grief, you keep on ruminating. Why? How? Why? It's painful. Because a broken heart is painful. It's neurotoxic. It's real pain.
Broken heart syndrome.
Yes. Broken heart syndrome is physical. So that physicality can be overcome by going into the cold, because then you get into the endocannabinoid system, you get the opioids, you get the cannabinoids, and you get past this rumination because you are no longer thinking. You are in this non-thinking part of the brain where the healing starts. So I opened the door a little bit for not ruminating, for not having to indulge into that pain. And that opened the door for healing. It were my children who made me survive, but the cold healed me. So it can heal anybody else.
How long have you held your breath?
I got a friend from Croatia. He's the current world record holder.
29 minutes?
29 minutes and I don't know, some seconds.
Yeah.
And he was driven by his daughter, who is autistic. And he still, when we met, He cried with me. Because in the end, we want to be men taking care of our children. Not to beat somebody else or to be a world record holder.
Yeah.
It is time that we learn to protect our children. And how it is best done, not by competing, but by becoming the best within ourselves, by emotional regulation and passing it on. Because a lot of children, young and old, they have cancer. How come? Because it is trespassed genetically. Because we didn't work out in our past generations how to solve traumas. I think it is time now. Time for the soul to take care of the soul, to de-traumatize, to free the world of wars, to free the children of disease, to free the generations of those impediments. And now we got all the measurement devices, the brain scans, the fMRIs. We can look with apps how we do and all. We are able to to measure how to free ourselves and to help the condition of the cell to the primordial depth, how to be sane, to be free, to be enlightened.
But practically, if a person is holding their breath for, if they want to hold their breath for 5 minutes or so, how would you coach a person on a breath hold? Because inevitably tension builds up. You start squeezing your neck, you start squeezing your shoulders, maybe you start trying to resist it. You feel like you're falling apart, you're freaking out. How do you coach a person through a hard situation like that to be able to do what seems impossible?
We all have a different conditioning. And I use the breath to biohack into that conditioning to go past that conditioned state. Is it 3 minutes you need? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 7 minutes? It doesn't matter. You have the power to overcome your conditioned state, the entrapment inside, and to expand your consciousness using the breath. It will show how many minutes. You will just follow your feeling, and your feeling knows how to go and how long to go and how far to go. And everybody has got the power to use the breath. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 6 minutes, 12 minutes, doesn't matter. Follow your feeling. Don't force yourself. You have the power and the right to go past your narrowed consciousness or your conditioned state where you are entrapped to become enlightened.
You were injected with E. coli and you were able to fight that infection off and in a pretty short amount of time. What are you doing within your mind while that's happening? I know breath.
Yes.
But the mind, I would imagine, is guiding the breath. Like, where is your mind in that situation?
The mindset is you give what you got. Don't mind about nothing, just the breath. Fully in, let it go. Fully in, let it go. Get in trance. Trance is when you leave the thinking brain and you get into the mammalian brain. It's just following the breath. It's like singing. When you sing, you are no longer in the human mind. You are singing in the mammalian. You get into the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is there to regenerate, rehabilitate, to take care of the inflammation. And we found it now. So back then, I didn't know that. But I just followed, hey, you give all you got, that's what I got. Then God will come. Because you are no longer there. No ego, we go.
There's no visualization.
There is no visualization.
Just
the belief, the faith. I feel I can do more than we think is possible with the immune system. That was my challenge back then. And they said it's not possible to bring down the inflammation caused by the E. coli bacteria injected. We got this seen 16,134 times. Everybody became sick for 3 to 6 hours. Controlled experiment. So what you say, yeah, I'm so sorry, but we cannot really believe what you say is true. No, but let's try, because you are a guy who's doing strange stuff. Okay, let's go. Injected me, and at the moment when the professor came, you can wait 1.5 hours. Then it will be. Then you're gonna notice for real what the E. coli bacteria is doing. So you don't need to do anything. No, I said, you are injecting me now. I will bring in the life force, the breath, right here, right now, and change my blood's chemistry. And what I did is preventing, I activated the adrenal axis so that the bacteria never had a chance to grow into inflammation. I prevented the E. coli bacteria, which normally makes the people sick. We can't do anything. We stopped it like a bouncer outside the door. No, you are not going to go in. There's space enough over there, but not here, inside my body.
Is there inner self-talk?
No, just follow the breath.
You're just bringing your awareness into your breath, nothing else.
Yes.
You're not driving energy through visualization.
No,
Wim
no
Hof,
need.
Bringing
No
awareness into breath. The body
key,
takes care of itself.
You know, the Qigong, the Vipassanas, we got that all done. Even the Catholic churches come. And they say this is a highly esoteric and mystical discipline. You don't need 20 years of teaching and learning about the trickery of the mind, how to stop it. Just breathe. That's why I call it, it's French, breathe, motherfucker. Just do it. And was a woman asking me, I don't want to be vulgar, but I cannot say that, no? But I said it so anyway. So I said, how do I have to breathe from the nostril or diaphragmatic or to the mouth or the lungs or simultaneous or what? I said, babe, doesn't matter what kind of hole you use, just get it in. Make fun out of it because we make it too difficult. We tend to make things complicated. Well, it is not. We are here with the breath, with the life force, with the right to become the masters of our mind and the captains of our soul.
Is life serious?
Seriously not. Make jokes, but first get the job done and then have fun. That's the way I go. So I was talking to a surgeon, one of the authorities in the world, in neurosurgery, in Germany, in Hanover. He's got a building. It looks like a head, like a brain. And on top of there in the building, talking 3 hours long. He tried to trap me in his scientific knowledge, etc. He could not. And I made sense, and he knew it. And then he was talking about his dog. Oh, yeah, you are right about the adrenal axis. That is the way we can learn to cleanse ourselves through the breath. Oh, yeah, makes sense. Because I got this big Afghan dog. And every Sunday I go out, and she is beautiful. She is sensitive as a horse. What a lining, what a beautiful face and all. And she's a lady. So we go out to the lake. There's a big fence there. And she goes behind the bushes, does her droppings, comes back, and she is fast as the wind suddenly. Because she activated the adrenal axis. She flies over the fence. And she comes to, and there she is. That's the way he was convinced that what I was saying was true. And then he came with a dilemma, which is real right now in our modern lives for the new generation, iPads and telephones. Children tend to go like 8 hours and more on iPads and all that. Even in the schools, we use iPads now and all. So, but our brain is built to have stimulation all the time from all sides. It's our central nervous system. So what they saw in brains of children is that the brains are shrinking. That is going to be a real problem. Then I said, I know how to solve that. Breathing. Because we are able, by pressing the spinal fluid to the head, to activate 100% of the brain, to alkalize it, and to get rid of brain waste. So anything you don't use, it gets optimized again with the right blood flow. That's the way to deal with this. Okay, and then he started with jokes. He came up with this joke. He said, sorry, I'm talking about the president of America, not Trump, but Biden. And he got this joke. Take your life serious. Hey, jokes are also there, so take it lightly. He said, Mr. Biden, you have a brain and it works funny lately. That was in the time of Biden, President Biden. It works funny. We have examined your brain. You got two parts in your brain. That's the result of our examination, thorough examination. There's a left side and there's a right side. In the right side, in the left side, nothing is right, and in the right side, there is nothing left. That was a joke in the neurosurgery. Yeah, it is the top, eh? And then I said, I got a joke too. Hey man, it's not a joke. Maybe it's real. There was a woman, 102 years old, in her birthday, but she looks hot. It's amazing. 102, and you look hot. That already is a miracle. So there she is, and she is talking to this journalist, and the journalist is saying, how come you look so hardly he could get out of his words? So hot. And she's saying, sex and rock and roll. And I said, when was the last time you had sex? Said 1945. Oh, but that is a long time ago. Yeah, it's 2015 now. You see, we joke, but first we get the job done. If the new generation is going to suffer from brain shrinkage, deterioration of neural activity in the brain, resulting in very bad new kinds of diseases, then we are here to take care of our children, ain't we? There we are. We are men, we get the job done, and then we have fun.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for bringing me here and letting me talk, almost monologuing, but that is because you can listen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, brother, thank you.
I bow to you.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, you might also enjoy this episode over here, as well as this one over here. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.